In this section of the orientation, I'll be talking about the job interview process, and as you'll recall from the orientation for the syllabus, that in order to earn an A for the course, you need to do one of two things. Either attend the interview practice session at the Eastview campus of Austin Community College, and I'll be talking about that in just a second, or you can interview for an actual CAD job, and if you are offered the job and you bring your instructor a offer letter indicating that you've successfully interviewed and been offered a job, we will count that, and so that gives you a total of 15 points out of the 100 that you could earn for this class. And so if you do this along with the references and the resume and we accept your portfolio, then you'll have 100 points total and you'll be receiving an A for the class. So I've logged into Blackboard. I'm going to click on the link to the Special Topics in Drafting course, and that takes me to this page, and then over in the upper left hand corner I'm going to click on Course Materials, and I'm going to scroll down, and there is a link here called Interviewing for a CAD Position, and that links to a PDF. Click on that PDF. I'm going to enlarge this just a little bit. And I apologize that I can't show the entire screen, but in recordings, when I'm making these recordings, it's just too small if I do the entire screen. So what this PDF talks about is what to expect during an interview for a CAD job. And so I think it's important for you to read through this and understand how important this decision is for companies. And they may interview you with only one person, you may have to interview with a team of people, and you might expect to be given a CAD test of some sort, and so you just don't want to be surprised if that's what if they tell you to go over there and log into a certain machine and draw something up for them. I think it's very normal to be nervous when you go into a CAD job, but in this PDF you'll find out that while you're nervous, the employer is probably afraid. And what they are afraid of are things like, excuse me, that they'll hire you and then you won't be able to do the job, or that you won't be a hard worker, or that you'll frequently be sick or absent, or you won't get along with your coworkers. All these sorts of things. And we list some of these things here. And when you think about it like that, it takes some of the intimidation out of it, because then you understand the employer's point of view just a little bit, that they really want to hire a person that is going to fit in, that is a quick learner, and all these things. And so it's your job in the interview to make sure that that's the information they're getting from you. And so in the PDF you can see a list of things that they're really looking for. Are you prepared by your training to do the job? Can you work successfully in groups and individually? Can you communicate well? Do you have good work habits? Are you dependable? Those sorts of things. Will you meet deadlines? There's a section on preparing for the interview. There's a section in here on how to conduct the interview. There's a section on some potential questions you may be asked, like the "tell me about yourself" question. Be prepared to answer that, because that's one of the first questions in our department we ask prospective employees. Tell me about yourself, because we're going to see if you tell us something that can help us make our decision, either for or against you. So you have to be careful in what you tell about yourself. You know, a lot of companies are prohibited from asking you personal questions, so they ask you things like "tell me about yourself," these open-ended questions that you might lead them into something that otherwise they couldn't have asked you about. So be careful of that. At the end of every interview we do in our department, we always ask the person interviewing, "Do you have any questions for us?" And it's always kind of a letdown for us if an interviewee says they don't have any questions. So there are a few questions you can ask that would be okay. For example, can you describe the training I would receive if I'm selected for this position? Or what is your time frame for filling this position? These are legitimate questions and they show an interest. Negotiating your salary. There's a section in here on negotiating salary, and of course that will not come up unless they're offering you the job, and at that point you'll have a little bit of power, not too much probably if it's an entry-level job. So you can read about that, but what we sort of recommend is looking at what it is that you have to have in the way of take home or base salary so that you have a realistic number that you can ask for. And some companies, they have a real strict set wage for what they pay an entry level person, and there's no room to negotiate. Some may actually have a little bit of wiggle room and might negotiate with you a little bit. After the interview, be sure and send a thank you note the same day or the next day to each person you interviewed with. And notice I said each person, so I think it's important that as you meet people, either you ask them for their business card or you write down their name, and so you know who it was you spoke with, so that you can make sure that everyone you spoke with the day before or earlier that day is going to get a thank you note. Now you can email that to them, or you can go more personal and do a handwritten thank you card. Just don't do anything too, flowery or anything like that. Just very business, but thank them for the interview. Ask them if they have any other questions about your qualifications or availability. Please contact you. Give them your phone number or your email address. All right, so let's talk about setting up the mock job interview at Austin Community College. The mock job interviews are done by the Workforce Solutions offices located at the Eastview campus of ACC. And these interviews, at the time that I did this orientation, these interviews were being conducted on Thursday afternoons. And there's a phone number here, 223-5400, for that office. Before they do the interviews, they hold some interviewing classes and workshops, and they highly recommend that you go through those before you interview, but you do not have to do that. What we recommend is that if you cannot attend the classroom interviewing workshops, that before the interview you view the online e-seminars, as it says here, which are listed below. And so I'll scroll down to those real quick. These are listed right here, but I want to show you that if you go over to course materials, actually I'm sorry, in this section right here where it says job interviewing training videos, click on that and you will see the link to all 4 videos on interviewing for a job, and these are very good. They're only about 20 minutes long. They don't take too long to do. They even have one on negotiating a salary, and I think they were really worth your while to look at before you go to the job interview. So I'm going to go back to course materials now and click again on interviewing for a CAD job and scroll down to the details of the job interview. Alright, so whenever you're ready to set up the job interview, the Eastview campus's Workforce Solutions office is located at 3401 Weberville Road, Building 1000. There is their phone number. Here's the schedule. It begins at 9:30 to 11:30. They do an interviewing class. 10 to 12, they do some more interviewing classes on different topics. At 1 to 3, they do salary negotiations and post-interview strategies. And then between 3:30 and 5, they hold the actual interviewing practice. And as I was saying, you can either go through the class sessions or you can look at the videos. They're listed here, but remember they're also listed here in the job interviewing training videos link. When you go through the interview, you'll be given some paperwork by the interviewer, and if you tell them that you're taking this for the class and ask them to sign it, then you can produce that at the final portfolio review, and I will count that as proof that you went through the job interview. If you have any questions, you can consult your syllabus or you can contact your instructor.